Hey everybody and welcome back. Well, my trial's done for another year. Didn't turn out too bad, although it wasn't a brilliant turnout, and it did start to rain halfway through, but everybody here seemed to enjoy themselves. So that's that done. I leave all the sections marked because I ride them during the year. So we're going to get on with this today. Now, I've had some more subscribers, so that's pretty good. And the other bit of news is it was only 40 degrees this morning, so I've had the heating on. Right, we'll set on with this. We're going to do the footrests and we're going to do the side stand. Now, as you saw on the C15T, they moved that over to this side. I don't really know why, the more I think about it. But I do remember with that C15S, which had this kickstart on it, it either used to foul on the side stand, maybe that had moved around a little bit. So I may leave it on the other side, just move it closer in, and it really sticks out. When I had the first bike came, I mean it leans right over. So I might put it slightly differently. So what we'll do is we'll cut both sides to give ourselves enough space to put it on. And then I'll drill out the centre so it'll slide onto this tube, and we'll decide which side we want it. But we'll put this kickstart on so I know where the footrests are going to go, and we'll do the footrest. And I've had a thought about them. So, can't think of anything else much to say. Oh, you may notice I've got a full-size suspension unit on. I was looking at this the other day and I suddenly realised that the chain was actually slack. When I jacked it up a little bit and got to 12 inches instead of 10 3/4, the chain had gone slack on the top rung. So I jacked it up to being 12.9, which is like the standard size. And when I pulled the chain on the bottom run to tighten the top run, as of course it would be when the engine's going, I still had space here. So that's good because I might even have a decent pair of these. And I looked up the specs for a B25, which uses the 12.9 inch ones, and that was only listing 2.5 inches of travel. So we've got loads of space for everything. That makes things a lot easier. Also pulls, because it kicks the back up a little, it pulls the head in slightly. So that's going to give us a steeper fork angle, so we'll steer a little bit faster. Okay, so to start us off, I'm going to go around the other side because I found it easier to start there. I know where the footrest should be. Now, if you're having trouble getting a new kickstart on or the old one off, these slots for the cotter pin are just like splines on kickstart shafts. If people don't keep them tight, then what happens is it can go like that a little bit, and the cotter pin will damage the edges. It'll fold them out either on the top or at each side. So if you're having real trouble getting it on, don't so much think you've got to do something with the shaft. Check all that edge around there and you'll probably find that it's deformed slightly. So anyway, let's put this on. Now I've used the file on it a little. That's what it was here actually. In particular, the back edge there was a bad shape. Still a bit tight, but there it goes. Right, we're doing the cotter pin. Now for our purposes we just need this to be in to hold it. Oh, come on. Now the cotter pin came out alright, so This, again, you know, as I say, if you buy things, even original parts, that cotter pin's a bit big to go through the hole. So let me turn you off again. Okay, I've eased that round a little bit. And also, of course, it goes in easier from this end, as I'm sure a few of you were shouting out. I should grease it as well, but I will when I'm finished. Right now, we just want it to go in so we know where it's going to be. Have I got that flat right? Come on now. Where's the little soft hammer? Just where you can't get at it. I need something long to pop on it. So I just want it out of the way. Alright, so that's how that kickstart works. To be honest, it's not brilliant, as I seem to remember from the C15S. So, will that go on there? Oh, look at that! That's right where it wants to be as well. So, we're going to use these. This is slightly bent downwards, so I'll have to heat that up. But that will go straight on there without any problem. To do a little bit of work on the other side. So let me take this rubber off. Now we're going to have to make a piece to go in there. It's very slightly tapered on this side. So we'll turn up a piece to fit that. As I say, I think that's nearly up there. It's 7/16. I've got some 1/2 inch bolts. I think I'll open that out to 1/2 inch. This actually, you can't say, but it's double thickness. There's a gap in the middle, but this big casting, it's 1/4 of an inch thick there, and then there's a gap, and then it's 1/4 of an inch thick again. So it's really hefty. So let's get a 1/2 inch drill and open that out, and a couple of 1/2 inch bolts, and do some measurements, and we'll make a piece for that. Whoa! Right, we've had a change of plan, just for a change. What I'm going to do is make a piece to mount the footrest. So, I'm going to try and draw this without getting my hand in the way. We know the mountings are 7/16, the ones I was going to drill out to 1/2 inch, so I'm going to get a piece of steel, round, eighth and a quarter, whatever it needs to be, and the first part of it we're going to turn down to be 7/16, right? And we're going to thread it, right? So that will be our mounting. That is going to go through those two plates, one plate, two plates, and have a nut on the end. Then here, where it comes up, we're going to mill a flat on it. And that is going to be the lock against that piece. Right, so that will only be milled on one side. So when that goes in and gets the bolt on, this will fit on that little lip so that it can't turn. Then we'll either make this piece tapered, oops, went a bit off there, and then that will go into the footrest, and then we'll weld it in. Or what I might do is, because the footrest part is actually quite narrow, I might just open that out so that I can make this just whatever size it should be. But this bit's going to go into the footrest, get welded in. That bit's going to be our locking mechanism, and then that is going to go through the mounting, 7/16 nut on it, and that will be our footrest done. So let me go and make some measurements and find some steel round. Alright, I've done the first stage. That's the piece I've made. Alright, so that's going to go in there. 7/16 nut on the back. And we'll mark that where the little ledge is, and we'll mill it, and that's been opened out to suit, so that will go on there like that. So I'm going to mill this so that bolts in tight and doesn't move. Then we'll put this on, we can mark it and weld it up. But I think I might have to shorten that slightly. It's a little higher than it should be, and hang on, I'm saying and. They always keep doing this to you, don't they? No, you see, you can't. Alright. You notice this is flat. Well, the rubbers are flat to suit. So if I want to get BSA to be at the top, that's got to turn around a little bit. So I think what I'll do is cut it here, shorten it slightly, and when I weld it on, back on, I'll turn it round. See, I'll just cut it off right there, basically where it's round, shorten it, and then weld it back on with that flat. Alright, so let me get this off here first. There we go. So let me mark this and go and mill that flat on there. Right, got all the welding done. Still a bit warm, but that's welded into there. I'm going to weld that there as well, but I want to change the electrode, well, the tungsten. So that is also welded on there nicely. So that goes in there, catches on its little thing, little washer. And nut. Bolts just sticking out the end of the nut, so we got that the right length. There we go. If we had a proper rubber on it, it would go on like that. Da-ding! Yes, yes, yes. As I say, you can still bang your ankle on that. It's not a brilliant design, but that's what was on it, so that's what it's got. Alright, now we can go around and look at the other side. Now then, what you've just watched may have been a little bit disjointed, because last night when I was transferring the videos from the memory card out the camera to the computer, somehow some of them got corrupted. So there's a few little bits missing. Anyway, what I decided to do on this side, which is some of what you've missed I think, was this is the original footrest, but from the other side. It was completely wrong for the brake. So I was thinking about what to do, and I suddenly thought, hang on, let's go and look at a couple of other cast footrests. So this one's a B25 one. That one wasn't bad. This one is of a TR25W slash, I guess B40 slash B44, but the later frame. And that one fits in nicely. I'm going to have to shorten it, but I'll do what I did on the other side. I'll take the actual footrest part off this, weld it on the top of that. So this one was wider. I've been able to mill the step straight into it. Okay. I've also made a piece, and this hole, when I thinned this down a little bit, was such a light taper that that's virtually the same size all the way through, which was 7/8. So I had some 7/8 rod. So I've made a piece to go in there. That is 7/16 to go in there. So what I'm going to do now is weld that in. See, I put a little chamfer on the top so I've got space to weld into. I'll weld that into there. Then we can bolt this up so it's tight. I can mark this and cut it, and we'll put the top on same as we did, I think you saw it, on the other side. Then a little bit of work on this rear brake, and everything on this side is finished. So let me go and weld this up. So I've welded that into there, both ends. So that's going to go in there. Match up with that, just misses this. And as you know, that's where we're going to put our footrest, which I've already cut off. So that's going to go on there like that. So the next thing to do is to cut that. Like so. And that will go on there. So let me go and cut that, tack this on, and then we'll see how it fits. Now, that's all welded on there. Goes in there. And that's about, there's our little thing. I've actually milled this a little bit too deep, look. So, what I'll have to do is build that up with some weld and redo that. But, in the meantime, we can hold it up with its bolt so that we can, so you can see we're spot on with that. So we can look at our rear brake pedal. Close to the chain case, but not sticking my head in the way here. But we're not touching. Alright. That's that in there, excuse me again. Okay, I can do that now then. The problem with this, let me pull you back. Oops. Problem with this is that thing. Well, I said that thing, it's obviously the adjuster to set where you want your pedal to be. But there's actually quite a lot, it's touching up at the front, so there's a lot here at the back, so I could actually cut that off and move it a bit if need be. Let's just see. That actually screws into there. Yeah, see, that's what's catching there. Now I could move that back and that'll work perfectly. Actually, I might even be able, it's barely touching on the edge. Little bit of judicious grinding and I think I could get that to go without adjusting it at all. And where is he? Oh, I had a quick look in one of my little container marked British rubbers, and I actually have a brand new pair of these. So here's the old one, which is split to get off. There we go. Pretty damn smart, eh? Yep. Thought I might have to bend that up a little bit, but I don't think so. I can, if need be, bend it up here just to bring it up, because you don't want your feet sloping outwards. If anything, you want them sloping in a little bit. So that's that. Now then, yes, let me go and just take a little bit off there, and we'll see what that does. Well, that's a little bit misleading. I've ground a piece out, but the actual head of the adjusting bolt is catching on it. So what we're going to do, screw that off there. Yeah, I say we're going to cut this off and just move it back, mount it about here, and then that should work nicely. So let me go and do that. Well, I'll cut it off first and we'll see what happens. I've cut the little thing off the back, so now as you can see that goes all the way up, and there's the little thing, goes on that way, and I can weld that on about there, and that'll still press up against the original thing because that extended right back. So let me just tack this on and make sure it'll work. Now I've tacked that on the back, and I put a bolt in, as there would be for the adjustment thing. That goes on there like that. Okay, that's up against the stop. Screw it in a bit more. Screw it in a bit less. Actually, I need to take a little bit. Oh, actually, I think maybe if I used an Allen bolt instead of a hex head. Anyway, that's going to be all right. So let me take this off, weld it on properly. So there's that welded on there. I'll put an Allen bolt in with a lock nut. Okay. Lock nut. Yeah, we're going to take just the tiniest bit off there for the lock nut to work. As I say, might shorten this. Where's the picture? Yeah, you can't really see it very well on this, but it's can you see that? It's sort of just underneath where the distributor is, the pedal. So there's the distributor. That's it. I might shorten it because it just looks like a bit of a stretch, that, for your boot. But anyway, that's that one. So that's both footrests done and the brake pedal. What's next? Oh, prop stands. So let's have a go at that. I think I just found out why they moved the prop stand over. if you move the prop stand in as far as you can move it on that side, which is right down to here, this is going to foul the brake. So let me cut this off appropriately, and then we'll see about opening this casting out and fitting it on the other side. Now I've cut the pieces off, cleaned that one up. So here's the prop stand, and as you can see, it's a casting, and you can see there the bronze. You can actually see some bronze here. Well, this is more brass. You see, this is the casting, and in there's a piece of tube that's been sweated in. For our viewer who has a thing about alloys, the alloy that I use when I'm bronzing is different to the copper alloy that's being used in brazing. So these are done like your soldered joints on plumbing. The whole thing is heated up, and then the brass type brazing material is introduced into there, and it just by capillary action goes up inside and seals it all in. And it does that for all of these castings where the tubes go in. So hang on, let me bring you closer in to see that. There you see the little bit of, you see the yellow? And you can really see the yellow there. So okay, now I've got it, I'm going to take this off, and I can grip this nicely on there. We'll do it in the mill, grip it there, and we'll bore that out to this size. So I'll measure this, and then it should be the same size as that, of course, but we'll keep a close eye. I set it up in the mill, and although I've got a good grip here with the vise on these flat surfaces, I couldn't really think of any way to support it. So what I've done to minimise the pressure, the tool pressure, is I did it with a 3/4 inch end mill, which was just fractionally bigger than the hole. Then I did a 13/16 drill, and now I'm going to do a 7/8 drill. The tubing is 870 thou, so it's 5 thou under 7/8, and of course this drill won't drill exactly 7/8. So I'm just getting this back to 0 because I moved to put the drill in. Come on, there you go. And clamp the table down. Alright, so this should just take us right. As I'm feeding the quill down, there's virtually no pressure on it at all, so this clamping will be adequate. Oh, will you look at that? See that coming out the bottom? That's the tube that was in there. So there we go. And that just shows that it was only bronzed at each end, otherwise that wouldn't have come out. So it wasn't even actually brazed as such. So let me take this out, we'll take it over to the frame. Right, I've still got to clean this up a little bit, but let's see how that worked out. So that side, you see, it was on like that. The spring was at the bottom. So here we're going to put it on this way. Alright. So what I'm planning to do is bronze it as it was done, but then I'm going to drill and put a pin through just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to go and put the actual prop stand and spring back on, and then we will put the straps onto the handlebars instead of having it on the jack. and we'll set ourselves to the angle we want it to be, and then we'll bronze it up. And I think I'll just gas bronze it, because that'll heat this up a bit more and the bronze will flow in a little bit better. Right, that'll be nice. Plus it saves me having to bring the TIG over, and it might be awkward to get in and everything. So let me clean this up a little bit more, get the cutting oil off it and all that sort of stuff, and put the prop stand on. Now there's the prop stand all put together and how it will go on. See, now it will go on, be up there. But of course, because we've turned this upside down, the foot is on the wrong way around. Now, before anybody says, why not just turn it over? Well, I could, but I'd have to change that. So it's change one thing or the other. So I either cut that off and weld it on the other side, or I just cut through there, turn it round and weld it. And to be honest, that's the easiest part of it. So let me do that, and then we'll put this to where we need it to be, bronze it, drill it, pin it, and then when everything's nice and clean, I'll bronze the inner part as well. Now I've turned this round, welded it back on, so let's lean this over here. Let's have a look at that. That's plenty, if not. I think we're going to be slightly higher when we have the wheels and everything done. I think that's good. Oh, that's still hot. Alright, so let me get the oxysettling out. Guys, you can tell it's the end of the day, can't you? And I'll bronze onto there, and that'll hold that, and then we'll drill it and pin it later. Now I'll put the kickstart on just so I knew that I wasn't fouling anything, but I don't think it'll get in the way while I'm welding. Now you aren't going to see a lot because it'll get very bright. There we go. That will hold everything, and as I say, I can actually grind that off if need be. I've let it go down there. I wanted enough room to get in there. Bronze one, and the big thing is putting that pin in. Alright. So, oh no, there's a gap there I can fill in. That's just nice, I think. That should all be fine. Alright, that's, oh, well done, 5 to 5. So we'll let all that cool down and everything, and we'll come back out and look at it tomorrow. But I think that's about as much as we're going to do this week. So, see you tomorrow. Alright, well, as it happens, that is it for this week. I think that's fair enough. We've got footrests on both sides. We've got the brake pedal on and sorted out that side. We've moved over the prop stand. I'm going to have to build up a little bit sort of on the heel of this, because with the swinging arm being slightly lower down, it bumps up into it. I've slipped a washer in there. See, it just comes up a little bit too much. So if I just put some weld in there, there we go. So it's like that, that'll be fine. Alright, well, I was going to put some video from the trial on this week, but I'm afraid it was the major victim of whatever happened with the computer. And I still don't know what it was. I transferred all my files over into the computer, and then I like to have them as large icons so I can see what's what. So I set it going to make them large icons, and I use Windows 10. The little green thing was going across the top, everything seemed fine. And then I noticed that two of the files, it said I'd transferred them all, and then I did the thing to make them bigger icons. Two of the files didn't have a little picture. And then when I tried to open, well, when I tried to transfer them, it just kept saying it couldn't read the files. Just wait for that lorry. So I don't know what it was. I lost about 4 files out of what I'd filmed of the work, and the others I had to fill around. It was as if when it was making the icons, it lost the address where it had stored the files. So I managed to find most of them, and then I put them into another file, and that solved that. But when I went to look at the ones with the trial on, there was only a couple of them left, and it's not worth doing it. So there you go, and that's why the video is slightly shorter as well, because we lost some actual work. Alright, so next week I have those couple of broken tabs to take off the top rail, and we'll kick it up just because it looks nicer. And we're going to do the side panel, the toolbox lid over that side. Now I had I had several comments that said, why don't I just change the inside panel rather than the actual cover? Well, it still wouldn't work because the cover is going to be made bigger, which is easier to do, whereas the inner panel, if I make that smaller, it's going to end up with the sides, you see, because they would have been like that. If I make them smaller, it's going to go down, so it's not going to match. But the main thing was, of course, we have this inner panel. So that matches up with the oil tank, and this side matches up with the inner. So I've got to match that side panel to that. So I just thought I'd mention that. Alright, so that's it for this week. As I say, you got this on Saturday because tomorrow I'm riding a trial. So I'll have the BSA out, and we'll see what's what. So until I see you next time, take care and enjoy yourselves.